Alright everybody, welcome back. Haven't done a video since yesterday, so I thought I'd do a quick one to show you where everything stands now. Went ahead and put the main tanks in, hooked up the UATs as well up to the main tanks, one on each side. Put some industrial strength Velcro here and here on both tanks to hold them. Plus there's a groove on the back side of the tank that's kind of sits into the bulkhead, so it's not going to go forward or aft. And then now that the tank's in, I can put this piece on right here that basically comes up and it sits like that to prevent this thing, so it's not going to go this way or this way. So it's in there snug. Went ahead and ran the lines up front. These will plug into the saddle tanks right there, and then this will be the vent going out to the bottom. I'm probably gonna, in the nose section, I'm probably gonna drill, actually I don't know, I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I'll put a vent here. I want someplace that's easy to get to, so I'll probably put it right here like I originally said. I'll have just two brass tubes coming out, which will be connected to the vents of these. I went ahead and used the 6mm tubing that come with the turbines, because it was actually a bigger inner diameter than my extra large Tygon. It's a lot stiffer, or a lot more stiff than the Tygon. It's hard to work with, and if you're not careful, you can kink it, like up here on the top of the vent. Looking back, it probably would have been better to run the vent line forward, but there's enough room. There's about a 2-inch gap between the top, actually about 2.5–3 inches, so it does curve. That line does curve enough to prevent it from bending, because if you bend this stuff too much, it kinks. So maybe it'll soften up once it gets some fuel in it, but it still have Tygon in the tanks, and I'll probably run Tygon for the vent just because I don't have enough of this left to run my vents. Plus I have some really large inner diameter Tygon that I can put on here to kind of help alleviate any kind of pressure. Going ahead and putting all the wiring in for the turbines. It's working out to be a pretty nice area. You know, engine 1, engine 2 cables are all nice and neat. These tanks will be put in here. You got grooves cut out on the side for everything to run through, so all this stuff will be placed through these little openings. I cut a little, it's hard to see it, but there's a half moon right there for the switch cable. It's going to run over the top of the tank and come down into the power box. And then in the turbine area, you'll have these two cables plugging right in the tops of the. And if you notice, because the way these turbines are, one side's the telephone type clip, and then the multiplex adapters. So you can see here, multiplex adapter coming out of the center, telephone style clip on this side, and then I just reversed it for the other side so they match up. Pumps and UATs I'll put in next. The UATs are going to sit right here, just like that, and the pumps. I had put some mounts here, but I don't know if I'm going to mount them there. I may just go ahead and mount them down here or somewhere else, because like I said, this stuff's pretty stiff, you know, and I don't want it to kink on me, so we'll see. And then you'll have this one little small lead going to a little defect in there. We'll go to the filters. And then the shutoff valve, and they're just going to mount probably somewhere just kind of like that. You know, nothing crazy. I have not decided where to put the brake valve. Just because it's kind of a awkward apparatus. I thought about putting it, you know, right between those two, kind of like that. But the gear, part of the gear raises up there, so there's no room there. And plus, I'm trying to, you know, decide on how everything's going to balance out. So I may just leave this out until I get everything completely done, and then based on weight wise and where things balance, you know, moving batteries around, I'm guessing the batteries are going to have to be up here in the nose or along the side somewhere through here, especially with the ordnance on, because the ordnance is just after the CG, so it's going to add weight to the tail. And that is about it. So once I get finished up the hooking up the fuel lines and everything, I'll go ahead and hard mount the turbines, and then work on getting the pipes installed, and that'll be getting pretty close to being done. Everything's going to be on hold until I get my gear back. Guy WAP asked me about the weight saving for the electric. I know when I did the F-16, if I remember correctly, it was about a pound or so that I lost in weight when I converted to the electric, because the air cylinders they weighed more than the actual electric actuators. Plus, I use a pretty small battery to operate the electrics, and they have a built-in gear door sequencer, so you do save a little weight there. Plus, no airline, that extra airline for the gears as well. So I want to say it was a pound, 1.3 pounds, but that's going to vary for the gear. It probably won't be as much for these because the air cylinders are smaller, and they weigh less than the actual F-16 ones did. But it's still going to save some weight. And like I said, I use a 2-cell, like a 1200 milliamp 7.4 volt LiPo, because the battery the gear only uses about 80 milliamps per cycle. So, you know, up and down, so 2 cycles per flight, you know, 160 milliamps, give or take a little bit. So I would just say 200 milliamps per flight. You know, that's plenty to fly, you know, 4 or 5 times on a LiPo. And that's about it. So I'll get back to it. You guys have a good one.